This podcast, we're going to wrap up Chapter 3 on rescue basics, and we're going to talk about two things: hazardous materials and crime scenes. The objective for crime scenes is to describe a chain of custody. But let's talk about hazardous materials first. Hazardous materials are some substance, solid, liquid, or gas, that is potentially harmful. They could be radioactive, they could be flammable or explosive or corrosive. And so being aware of those as you approach a scene, what we call our scene size up, is critical. Now, think about what these things could be, and then keep it simple in terms of think about how they could cause health problems to you. With disease transmission, we talked about either direct or indirect contact. We talk about things being ingested or inhaled. Well, hazardous materials can affect you or enter your body the same way. I don't think we have to worry about vectors with hazardous materials. Now, sometimes those problems could be immediate or what we would call acute. Sometimes they could be chronic, as is the case with asbestos. For any hazardous material at your work site, OSHA requires your employer to keep a material safety data sheet on hand. And here's where you can find out the particular hazards that may be associated with something. It may be very flammable. It may be some sort of a poisonous material. It may be a strong oxidizer. So by itself, it's not flammable, but could be very dangerous if it comes in contact with something that is. Now, the last part of Chapter 3 deals with crime scene management. And simply, if we discover some sort of a crime scene, something may have occurred, it's critical to notify law enforcement immediately. And unless it is absolutely important or essential for you to provide medical treatment to your patient, make sure not to disturb anything that's part of that scene. If it does have to be handled, we can create a chain of custody, that paper trail, just a document with times and locations of some piece of material evidence that may have been moved simply because it was critical for your safety or for the treatment of a patient. As much as possible, let law enforcement personnel handle those materials. That wraps up Chapter 3 on rescue basics.